from Channel 10.
Check it out. Before we get into this episode with the amazing Jordannah Elizabeth, we have to just make a couple of announcements. Number one, make sure you go check out Sin God Superior's EP Chorus. You can find that on iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, wherever you get your music from. Support him directly on Bandcamp. You can go to singodsuperior.com and see everything that he has going on. At the same time, you can check out my club music project. That's 410 Music Factory, Polyrhythms. Check that out everywhere too. You can also check that out at 410musicfactory.com. As always, channel10podcast.com. Go there, check out our back catalog of episodes, show some support, buy a t-shirt by clicking on the store link, and leave a comment, rate, subscribe, like wherever you get your podcasts from. We also present the Wu-Tang Podcast. Make sure you check out WuTangPodcast.com, and you can find that on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, wherever else you get your podcast from, and all that. I think that's it for right now. So with that being said, let's get into the show.
We used to be like CNN, Channel 10. And we used to think that people would catch on. But if you're not from Queens, if you don't got Time Warner or whatever, like, well, I didn't know that.
Do it, yo. Yo, word up, man. It's a different channel, son. Word up, on, man. Word up, watch the channel, son. Different plane now, man.
It's all good.
Word up, all good, baby, in every hood, son. Word up, yo. CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas is grown men. Bold face, gather your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace. Cast more beef than Scarface. CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas that's grown men. Bold face, gather your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace.
Once again, we're back. It's the Channel 10 Podcast. It is I, the almighty AR Tick in the building, and I'm alongside
Sin God Superior.
And today we have a very special guest by the name of Jordannah Elizabeth. Say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people?
And just, looking at everything that you have up online, it seems like you have a lot going on. So you're going on tour next week?
I am going on tour next month. I have a number of local events here in Baltimore. Throughout late August and September. Then I head to Europe in October, come home for a second, go to the Bay Area for a couple of weeks, and then I go to Miami in December for Art Basel, which is a huge arts festival, so it's going to be cool.
That's what's up. And are you promoting a particular project now?
I am. I am working on an album and a book called The Warmest Low. This is a 3-track single, which is going to next year become a full album. And it's kind of just an art piece. My last records have surrounded social justice and racism and music experimentation and kind of very themed stuff. This is kind of more of an open, flowy art record. So it's kind of nice to get back to the heart of just being artistic,
Right. Now, I guess taking it back to the beginning, you're originally from Baltimore?
Born and raised, yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
I was born in Johns Hopkins Bayview, which was Francis Scott Key Hospital in '86 when I was born.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
a little fact there, a little trivia, Baltimore trivia fact. Yeah, Baltimore was my life. I was carded. Lived on Rogers Avenue, and then moved. My mother moved us to the county when I was about 6, but I was back and forth through Edmondson Village, where my grandmother lived, And I believe my auntie lived on Fayette, and they were both there for 30 years. So the city was all I knew until I was about 15, and my mother moved me to Colorado.
That must have been a culture shock.
It was actually, I actually took it really well. I just stuck my head out of the window and breathed the air for like 3 days because it's so clean. I literally put my head out the window and just inhaled and exhaled for, it's a gorgeous, beautiful place. But, I had a good time. Colorado Springs is a military town, so it was diverse, you know what I mean? It was a culture shock. My accent is gone. My B-more accent is gone because, people couldn't understand what I was saying, and it was like I had to adjust. That was probably the main thing. Other than that, I just kind of partied with the white kids and had a good time, and really just kind of got into music and traveled, and I had an interesting teenage life in Colorado. I guess I saw an outside concert in Acacia Park when I was about 14 or 15, and I had just had this epiphany, like, this is what I want to do. So I ended up going to a small college when I was 16 in southern Colorado. And, had a boyfriend, and he had friends in a band, and by the time I was 17, I was putting a band on tour. We traveled all around Colorado, and I booked the shows, and this had to have been about 2004, between 2004 and 2006. So I've been doing it for a long time. I'm 30 now. I'll be 30 in October. I'm not 30 now. I should not yet.
Yeah.
But I've been working in the music industry for a good portion of my life.
That's what's up. Now, I guess before you went to Colorado, did you get into music at all, or was that like your first experience, trying it out?
No, I grew up in the church, so, and that's pretty much every black female singer in the universe. Grew up in the church, and I went to school. I took piano lessons, and you know how moms do that. They put you in ballet and piano and to sing and all this, and dancing and singing, and so took a lot of electives in junior high, choir, played violin in first grade. So no, I have been in music. I've been educated in music. Then when I did end up going to that college, I stumbled in the music department specifically because I wanted to study English. I actually wanted to be a novelist. Early on in my life, always wanted to be a writer. So I signed up to major in English, and the teacher in the English department, he walked me and he said, Jordannah, you can't major in English. I said, why? He said, because you're the only student in the entire school who signed up for French and English literature. So there aren't enough classes for you to take this major. So I stumbled into the music department, and when you study music, you have to have an instrument. It doesn't matter if you study music education or music therapy or anything like that. You've got to have a core instrument. So I took vocals, so I'm classically trained. But what interested me the most was music history and literature. So I was able to kind of get my my writing fix through through studying music history, which has kind of bled into my music critic career. Yeah.
So even though you weren't able to get into, or I guess they really didn't have much of an English department. Did you do like freelance writing on the side while you were majoring in music?
Not at all. It took about a decade for me to get back to my passion, my true passion. God. So things went along in Colorado, and managed some bands, and I picked up a guitar and studied music and started, going on the road as a solo acoustic musician. This weird little black girl with dreadlocks, like singing this folk music. People were like, "We have no idea what you are," but I had fun. I've always lived in my own little bubble. I've never, I've always had so much fun that I've never really let people get to me. Do you know what I mean? Like I can see how being so different could have discouraged me, or people could have tried to discourage me. But I've always been kind of like aloof, because I'm just so into whatever I'm doing. So I went along my life with my guitar and traveled all over the place, all over the country, and went to Los Angeles and then ended up in New York. And New York is where my career I kind of got a name for myself as a promoter, tying together the music scene in Bushwick, Brooklyn, in about 2010. I just pulled all my friends together. I lived in this big loft, and we were all these young, bright-eyed musicians. And I just started throwing parties and booked a lot of Brooklyn bands in this Manhattan club in the Lower East Side called Fat Baby, and just put on, dozens of shows, and made a living at that at about 23, 24 years old. And I got burnt out, I just had a bunch of white boys getting attitudes and telling me what to do, and I was just kind of getting to me. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna start writing. So I started blogging to get privacy. It's like, how can I stay in the music industry and still kind of have space to myself? My phone was going off the hook at all hours of the night. You know what I mean? I'm a very spacious person. I really don't like being interrupted in that manner. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's yeah. That's where the blogging came in. I started a blog from my promotions company record label called The Process Records. I started the Process Records blog, and then it turned into TPR Mag, TPR-Mag, TPR Magazine, and that went really well. I covered psychedelic and experimental music from North America, Australia, and Eastern and Western Europe, because at the same time, my sister Isabella Reygosa, who came up with me in Bushwick, got a music editor job at a Latin American music website called Remezcla. So she gave me a little job doing that. And so I was already covering South America, so I just took my blog and covered the rest of the world. That's pretty much where history has it. I worked for a site called thinklikealabel.com, and from there I was able to get a job at Vice and freelance. I did one piece for them, and then things just snowballed from there. That was 2013.
So it seems like you're Because you seem like you have like a very free spirit, and a lot of times I hear interviews with people when they say, you know, I just did this or did that, but it also seems like you had to have like a business type of grind in order to do that. So for like any aspiring musician who's trying to do it, how do you just pick up your guitar and go travel and you know, do shows and things like that, or put a tour together? Like how did that happen early on?
I went to Google and said, how do I put on a tour? I swear to God. And like my boyfriend thought I was crazy. This was before the internet was big. And luckily my mother had gotten the internet very early on. We had America Online.
Oh yeah.
In the county in Baltimore by the time I was about 10 or 11, long before, this is like 97, 99, long before, you know, it caught on into homes. Well, I wouldn't say long before, a few years though, before it really caught on. So I had a lot of experience with the internet, and I taught myself. I taught myself to code. And that was because, and I'm backtracking now, I'm going to start from the roots of it. I went to Deer Park Middle Magnet School, which was a comprehensive magnet school in the county, and I studied mass communication. So by the time I was 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, we were doing television and radio script writing and an internet proficiency. So that launched me, I mean, light years ahead, you know, which is why still at 29 years old, I am doing, you know, much of what my contemporaries are doing who are about 10 years older. And I humbly say that because I'm always learning and always reading. So back to your question of how do you get on that grind? I do have a business spirit. I'm a businesswoman, and I balance my my shyness, my free spirit, my flowy kind of personality. It took a while, but I balance it now. You know, it was very instinctual. I had friends, so since I had put, you know, friends on tour, you know, some of my friends would come up and maybe be like a manager of a little, you know, beer brewery, and they say, okay, well, you come play this gig, and, you know, or they get an open mic night, and they say, okay, you people take care of one another. We take care of each other. So I think for me, it has always been keeping friends and being kind and helping people. And, you know, I mean, as black folk, we don't really like to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
Okay. But I really work hard not to burn bridges, and even beyond not burning bridges, creating friendship, creating a safe space for people to come to me and say, you know, can I do this for you? I think I hit up Sin God over to Twitter because I think he liked my Facebook, and I just DM'd him. I said, hey, can I do your show? Yeah. And he said, yes. That's pretty much it. You go say, hey, either somebody comes to you because they like what you're doing, and you have a friend who got a job, like Isabella, who I came up with in Brooklyn. She gave me that job at Remesco. Well, a couple years later, she was able to give me a job at MTV when she got music editor. You know what I'm saying? So when Issa, you know, hooks me up, I get a call from maybe Google Play or something like that, and they call me and I say, hey, I can't take the job, but my sister over here, she's in NYC. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how we do it. You know what I mean? I think Baltimore has a long way to go in regards to networking and that losing that fear of loss if you share your contacts. Do you know what I'm saying? Keep your contact close to you. And I'm giving like real business gold right here. This should cost money. But like, you know, keep your contacts close to you, but know who your brothers and sisters are. And if somebody did a big favor you know what I'm saying, put you on, got you on summer stage, or even just, you know what I'm saying, got you a little $100 gig, you know, to open up or something, you know, you come up, you remember them, and it's not necessarily about getting something back. It's about giving something because they did something for you first. Does that make sense? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so that's really, I wouldn't say that's my secret, but kindness and having an understanding of abundance, which is another thing that our community really struggles with. We think that there's a lack, and there's a lack of surplus, especially in the arts community and the hip hop community. But I don't see it that way. I've never felt like if I gave something I would lose. I feel like when I give something I will gain. So that takes away a lot of fear, and it takes away a lot of negativity in my vibe, in my energy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, love. You know what I'm saying? Just give love, and you know, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much been the secret.
So when it comes to this idea of, you know, you eventually trying to figure out a way to balance yourself, how did you go about doing that? Because, you know, you write, you do music, you travel all over the place, and if I'm correct, I think you teach also on the side too, or give talks. And yeah, and so, you know, me, I'm still struggling with that too, you know, like, because I teach also, and then I do music, and so it can be a pretty big task, because I guess for me personally, I just feel like I'm using like two different sides of my brain when I do either music or teaching.
Yeah. Time management is hard. Another thing about being kind is that people give you leeway when you're not perfect. So I always try to stay humble and communicate, whether it be with my editors. I think I've needed like 4 extensions for an article for LA Weekly I'm working on. You know what I mean? Now with that, I've been able to do like 2 or 3 like short interviews, like, you know, Saul Williams. I know his publicist. I can call up and turn around and interview real quick. But I'm doing this really comprehensive article, and you know, because I try to be down to earth and communicate. I just say, hey, you know, I need a couple more minutes. So not pressuring yourself and saying to people sometimes, hey, I'm not perfect. Can I have a little bit more time to do this? Is a good tactic. Me right now, I have a headache and I'm exhausted. Right now, I'm in the dark because I did a photo shoot this morning. What did I do there? I did a photo shoot this morning. I didn't sleep at all. It's the full moon. I don't sleep. It's just a vibey thing. I don't sleep very well. So let's see. I did a photo shoot this morning. Went to Red Emma's and wrote and read a little bit. I left my laptop. I wanted to just write in a notebook and like read a little bit just to clear my mind. I took a walk. Today is a close friend of mine's birthday, and it's kind of like bumming me out. So I did something for myself. I went and I got a new tat just to kind of clear my head. So I walked down to Reed Street and did that. I don't drive, so a lot of this takes a lot of time. So I took the free bus down from Red Emma's to Reed Street Tattoo, got the tat, walked all the way from Mount Vernon back to like 30th and Charles Village just because I hate waiting for the damn free bus. In about 90-degree weather. That's how I keep in shape also. So I walk a lot to make sure that my body is balanced. Came home and I found that my plumbing was fucked up. And yeah, like everything has boiled over. So I tried to take a nap. I took an hour. I rested. So for a minute. Then I had to go walk to the Family Dollar and get a plumber. I get a plunger, try to plunge my toilet. That shit didn't work. Called maintenance. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, that's kind of, and then the last couple of hours I've just been trying to calm myself. So today was a stressful day. In regards to time management, I try to eat well. When we don't eat well, we feel very sick and we feel very slow. Do you know what I'm saying? I try to sleep. That's why I'm like, why y'all calling me at 10 o'clock at night? You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm out at the Crown, you know what I mean? But when I'm on tour, I pretty much shut in. And I know that, like, my friends are missing me a little bit. So I have a discipline of where I do have to distance myself to concentrate. So that is what I do. I kind of pull back socially, and the older I get, because when I was younger, I was just on the road for a decade, pretty much, from like 15 to 25, to be really honest. And I got tired of it. I didn't know my family. I didn't have really close relationships. So for the last 5 years, I've come back home to connect. So I've been doing a lot better with that. And I remember I came home this time last year in July, and I took 6 months off. I moved in with a partner. I spent time with my family. I got in the drama, you know what I mean? Like, it's drama to have a lover and a partner and and to get in with your family and go to the family events and to, you know, to really invest. Do you know what I mean?
Tell us about it.
Yeah, for sure. Right? It's a little overwhelming to me. I'm really private. It's a little overwhelming. So I tried it. Now I've learned to take 4 to 6 months off and only tour, you know, and it cut my year up. So I'm on the road only really for a couple of weeks in October, and then for a few days in December. But I have a number of local events. So that's kind of how I balance. It's hard. I'm a little lonely right now. I'll be honest with you. But that's where your discipline comes in, where your mental and emotional discipline comes in, where you got to get the work done. Either I don't have quality in my work. I won't have quality in my work if I choose to invest too much in other things. Did that answer your question?
I mean, yeah, it does. And you know, like when it comes like to writing, period, and you know these kind, you know, like when it comes to writing articles and things that are similar, it can be like a lonely task. And I remember I came across one of your articles for brokeassstewart.com, and where you talk about writing or writers in depression and that correlation. And so I guess in so many ways, personally, based on that article and others that I've read off by you from that site, you try to channel that depression and loneliness into your work to come out with good quality work.
Yeah, well, I'm so blessed to have written that column. Thank you to Broadcast Stewart, for that, because a lot of people refer to that of all ages, and it's been really helpful to a lot of people. I'm older now. I'm not as depressed, but that has come with maturity and meditation, and I'm learning. Even right now, in the last few weeks, I'm learning to depend on myself a little bit more emotionally. Mm-hmm. It's a discipline. It's hard. But I have my little outlets. Like I like to go to Red Emma's, because it's like, I call it like, and I say this in the best way possible, I call it like a high school cafeteria. Because when I go there and I can get my reading and writing done, definitely not in the morning, because all my friends just show up, and it's like, I get distracted for an hour or two, and it's beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, so I get my little social. I go to coffee shops and write. If I really want to get shit done, I'll go to Red Emma's at night, because it's a little bit more solitary. But you know, I mean, you know, I have my little things, but you know, my marriage is very spacious. We live really individualistic lives, and we are great partners, and we care about each other a lot, but we give each other a lot of space, which is very new, which is, you know, kind of that nouveau marriage, where it's like, you know, even with my partner before I got married, we didn't, it's probably nobody's business, but we didn't share a bed. You know what I'm saying? We shared a space, but we didn't, you know, share a bed. So I personally look for independent friends and lovers and partners, and you know what I mean? My girlfriends most of them are, my friend Frog is in Mongolia right now. We're going to meet up in Miami. So you know what I mean? So I just kind of find friends who have the same lifestyle, and so we understand, and are so busy that like we're not really tripping. But yeah, I get lonely, and sometimes it's a bummer. But the older I get, I'm learning to mentally discipline. You know who really helps? There are these lectures by Ram Dass.
Oh yeah.
You know Ram Dass?
Yeah, his podcast. Listen to it all the time.
It's amazing. Go to YouTube, because you can get on his full like vintage lectures. And I was feeling particularly lonely about a friend, someone who I deem as a soulmate. Particularly lonely because this person dropped off, and you know, and I have to like convict myself too, because it's like I drop off too, but it hurt. You know, it hurt this particular karmic tie. You know. So I had just turned on one of Ram Dass's lectures, and it saved my life, because he talked about how there really is no separation. And not only did he talk about how there's really honestly like not a separation in regards to love, but how to cope when you're being immature about your, because I'm like, I just want to let go. You know what I mean? I'm like, and I've been saying like let go, break, you know what I mean? Let go. And you know, and Ram Dass was like, you know what? Even when you try to let go, that you're still struggling. You're still causing friction. Even, you know what I mean? There is no separation. That love and that person is in you, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
That's like a way to deal with, like, especially like when you deal with death and things like that. Like, you know, as long as it's still in you, you know, it's never gone, because time is, you know, only the moment.
Right. And I believe when someone is on your mind, they are in you. That's not a mistake, because there are 7 billion people in the world. So how is this person able to infiltrate your spirit? That's not a mistake, because they're in you, and that's a beautiful thing. And you can either choose to struggle and see that as negative, because it hurts, because you miss that person's physical presence, which is completely understandable. You know what I'm saying? But or you can choose to just lay back and let it be what it is. And when you let it be what it is, sometimes, you know, they manifest on their own. It just may take, you know, maybe sometimes a couple of years. I've seen now, you know, now that I'm getting older, and I love aging, because I've been able to see like a decade go past, and I've been able to see relationships kind of resurface over long periods of time. And I'm not even talking about like love relationships, even colleagues, you know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, that's really cool. I had let go. I wasn't even thinking about this person, and now they're back, and it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So that's been helping. But this is all tied into, you know, dealing with depression and dealing with, you know, being a writer and having a more of a an independent, you know, spirit. You know what I mean?
So. Do you find that that sometimes when you put out you know, something that you've written or a piece of music, do you find like the response and the validation kind of comforting sometimes in those moments of loneliness?
You know, that's an amazing question. Actually, I struggled a lot with The Warm Is Low because it is about loss. And I didn't think that I was going to do music again. Actually, I wanted to give up. I've been doing it for such a long time as a primary career. And so as my career got more diverse and I was able to make more of a living off of teaching and writing, I didn't have to play music, you know. So I came home from Baltimore, from San Francisco during the uprising, because it was right after the uprising, because I was just like, something's wrong, you know, with my city. I need to go and see what's going on. So I came home and I moved in with a partner and I started writing this record. And even before writing The Warm Is Low, when I got here, I had some trouble writing my album before that called A Rush. Excuse me, there were two albums before that, Borders and A Rush. But during The Rush, I got really sick. And I had gotten an infection in my wisdom teeth, and it was really bad. And that can take care of it. And I was sick, and I was writing the record. And we talked about me being a hustler. I'm a strong woman. I kept going, but I didn't really like. I kind of started having this entourage around me, and it started to get a little fake for me. And I remember being at a show and I was sick and I hired this young publicist and she was like, okay, you got to come to the after party. You got to do all this. You know, her mom was there. She's like, you got to go to the bar because everybody's waiting. And, you know, I went, but I knew in the back of my head, I said, you know, if this girl really cared about me, she put me in a fucking car and send me home. You know. I said, so I distanced myself after that. I was like, these people don't care about me. Look at them. They're like partying like in my name. You know what I'm saying? But they don't give a shit about me. You know what I mean? Like I am sick. So I dropped off and I got a little depressed and I wanted to quit then. But my friend Breck, who had produced that record, he had noticed that I had gotten sad and I had distanced myself. So I was in San Francisco, he was in LA, he had gotten his house. He said, come down and let's do some music. I said, fine. You know, he said, I got a house. You take a couple of days, get some rest. We'll write some songs. I said, fine. On my way down to Los Angeles, I had seen the eulogy for the Charleston church massacre. Where Obama was speaking and he's saying Amazing Grace, and you know I'm at the rest stop just crying, you know, like it was crazy. So I'd gone to Los Angeles. I'd written a song called Charleston Settled in the Lord. I will be settled in Christ Jesus, in Christ Jesus. I will be settled in the Lord, oh Lord, oh my Lord. Right? Just a nice gospel song. So, and before that, I had, on a rush, we'd opened the song with a prayer for Black America for Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown and Eric Garner. So, everything had just been heavy, and then the uprising happened. And, it just all changed my life and changed my perspective. And I had just really gotten into wanting to serve my community, and teach. So, and then, I moved in with my partner and we separated, and I was just like, man, you know what? It's been too much. I lost a lot. That was about around my birthday, 2015, February 2015, and cut to June 2016. I hadn't picked up a guitar for 8 months. And I was just coming back to myself from just losing my partner and transitioning into a wonderful marriage with a new partner, and I was just getting my shit together. And I was at a birthday party, and I was sitting around the table, and two guys were sitting at the table. The party was over, and there was being a guitar passed around. It got past me, so I picked it up and I did a little freestyle. I closed my little eyes. It's been a long time. So I closed my eyes, and there was nobody in the room. And by the time I had opened them, there were 6 people standing in front of me, and they said, "Jordannah, we forgot how amazing you were." They called my music otherworldly. I said, "Oh, okay." So my friend said, "I'm going to give you a guitar." I said, "Okay." So I accepted it. That comes back to my philosophy of accepting. When somebody wants to love you and give you something, accept it. You know what I'm saying? I said, "All right, well, sure, it's a nice guitar." I consider that to be a little divine intervention. I was very thankful for the encouragement. So this is me answering your question. Do people validate you? The encouragement. So yeah, I got the guitar, and then I think like the next night I was at the Crown, and I met some friends. I met a producer out of nowhere I didn't know, and I ended up in a recording studio, and they said just for an after party. And they said I jammed a little bit, and the producer said, "I'll give you 6 hours for $80." I said, "Oh, okay, cool." A week later, I go to a show to see this all-girl woman band in Seattle, from Seattle, called Chastity Belt. I'm at the gig. I see my old partner's old friend who runs a record label, and he gave me a record deal at the party, at the show. This is all in the course of a week, right? I said, "Well, shit, God," So, and then 2 weeks later, I pitched The Warmest Low as a book, just off the cuff. It wasn't even like real. I was just kicking it with a publisher. We just wanted to get to know each other. So I'd gotten the opportunity to submit a book as well. So this was all in the course of 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, I wouldn't be on tour if it wasn't for my friends right now.
That's pretty dope. I'm gonna definitely come check you out. You're gonna be at the Crown next Wednesday, right?
Oh yeah. I have a cellist named Chanel Whitehead, and my friend Miles is playing guitar. Come to that show. That's gonna be a real down home good show, because all my friends are gonna be there. Ancestral duo Jamal and Luke are these Black experimental freestyle musicians. They're mind blowing. Jamal will pick up like 6 different instruments. He'll pick up a saxophone and then a flute and then play the congas. You know what I'm saying? Like real, like they're real. And then my friend Dan Conrad is actually a very famous instrument maker. So you're going to see an instrument called the chroma chord that he invented. Like, this is like a real deep experimental show. Like, it's going to be incredible. And Dave Heumann of a band called Arboretum, he's actually on my album. We did a duet together. So this is going to be a family show. I would love for you to come, and I would love to meet you. Also, I'll be playing the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra Pulse Series. That's going to be a big deal. I'm going to have 2 violins, a cello, a backup vocal, and I think 2 guitars. So we're going to be a big band. I went from 0 to arranging strings. I've done it before, but you know what I mean? I went from like never again to like playing Baltimore Symphony Orchestra. So that this ties into the go with the flow. My life is I follow the patterns in my life, and I let God give me what I'm supposed to have. And I was just talking to Dave today. He's an older guy. He's a white guy, but he's been playing music for 30 years, and I'm 30 years old. But he's
You're 29, okay? I'm 29.
Yeah, right.
Listen,
I'm excited to be 30. I look good. I look 15, so I'm excited to brag about it.
Listen, I got about 8 months left of my 20s, and I'm about to get it in.
I also try to like hype myself up so I don't flip out like when it happens.
Right.
I'll move over like 6 months in, so I'm already psychologically like prepared.
That makes sense. I'm going to use that in a couple months. Thank you.
For reals. And black don't crack. You know, people gonna be like, "Oh my God, you 30?" You're gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm 30." Anyway, Dave was just telling me this morning, like, you know, I was telling him this music was given to me through synchronicity, through, if not divine intervention, through synchronicity, through a series of events. So I almost feel like I definitely feel that I'm surrendering to this project. It didn't come, it came to me. I didn't go to it. So I have to throw away my logic because I'm exhausted. Like right now I have a headache and I am sick because I am stressed. You know what I'm saying? But God gave me a gift. And it's about making the choice of, am I going to be stubborn? Or am I going, because I like to write more than I like to really make music, to be honest with you. But I have a beautiful voice, and my music touches people. And people ask for it. So yeah, the only reason why I make music is because of the validity. Because people request it and give me money and resources and time and love to do it. You know what I'm saying? So this tour was invested. I haven't had to drop a dime by the grace of God. You know what I'm saying? So when, I mean, and I hate when people are jealous. I don't believe in jealousy, and particularly when people are jealous of me. And I get a lot of I have a hard time connecting with a lot of people, you know, because of that issue. And it's just like, man, if you knew what I go through to do this and maintain it, you know what I mean?
I think jealousy comes from, you know, insecurity, that feeling that you can't do it. Like, I don't get jealous because if I see somebody doing something, I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that if I wanted to, if I put the work in and the time in that they did. you know, but other people, I guess, don't necessarily have that same perspective.
Yeah, and I guess so. I don't understand. Of course, I'm human. I get jealousy, but I've never seen, you know, I've never been jealous of another person for their talent. Sometimes it's hard to see people get, you know, big deals or to see a writer younger than me write for the New York Times. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's also like we contribute to each other. So, I mean, I don't know. As an artist, I always connect with my community. I don't see myself as an individual artist. You know what I'm saying? So, and as a writer and as a journalist, you know, I'm deep into the writer community. So when my bosses at Bandcamp get on New York Times, I'm tweeting them like, yeah, my editors got in New York Times. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just celebrate each other. But yeah, I mean, I've had some women who have tried to really hurt me, you know, due to their insecurities, and it gets scary sometimes. I think that's another reason for my my protectiveness and my privacy, because when you have a blessing on you, some people want to take you down, you know, and you just gotta have that faith, but also, you know, make sure that you're protecting yourself and you're just not running around, hey, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't go where I don't belong. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to be, you know, out at the Paradox or on the block every day, you know, and that's not because I think it's dangerous or it's wrong. It's just like, I don't, you know what I'm saying, put myself in situations that could potentially endanger the blessings that I have. You know what I mean? So, I think that's another good bit of advice for young, you know, artists. You don't got to be out. Networking when you're young is great, and that was out in the clubs for years, but like, you know, when you get older and when you get to a certain age and to a certain point, you don't got to be out there all day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, for real.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times with these shows, especially, you know, in the hip hop world, it can get a little interesting sometimes. Like, I've been in I think the first time I ever got pepper sprayed by the police was outside of a show at the Five Seasons.
Right.
Back when I was younger.
Right.
And like, nobody was doing anything wrong. I completely forgot about that until you just talked about you know, being in certain places. Right.
It's real. Yeah. You know? Protecting your body and your space. I mean, you know what I mean? I see, like, my friends are all at a really big music festival right now, and I really want to be there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's there, you know. I really want to be there, but, you know, I have this photo shoot, I have this radio show to do, and I have, you know, this podcast, I have, you know, other things to do, and, you know, it's the full moon. I don't want to be out in the woods and it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I'm very, like, kind of in touch with my own preferences. It don't got nothing to do with anybody else's preferences, because, again, like, I would love to be there, but I know me. And I know that if, you know, my energy isn't correct, and if I know that, you know, I feel this certain way this time of the month, then I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not going to just be out there, you know, just to keep up. So, but that, again, that comes with maturity and discipline, because everybody there means a lot to me. So, I mean, I guess that's the thing about the sanity of keeping your career together. And if you really listen to people like Rihanna and stuff like that, they're very isolated. You know what I mean? They're very isolated, and the bigger you get, you got to get used to it. I had a homegirl. She talks about sometimes people be in her space, calling her phone. She'll have like a stalker once in a while. She's a musician, all this stuff. I said, baby girl, change your phone number. You know what I'm saying? She's like, oh, I had this number for 12 years. I said, okay. How long you know me?
Voice.
Exactly. I have a solid number that people can get. But I said, how many times I changed my number? I don't. I'm very, very private. You know what I mean? Like, people are gonna try to get to you, especially when you have contacts, and especially when you're a journalist. Artists are gonna want you to. I actually do well. People don't really bug me, but again, that's because I keep my space. And not only do I keep my space, when I'm in public, I'm really it sounds, I don't want to use the term down to earth, because that's how other people should see you. That's not how I should see myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I'm very serious about being treated equally when I'm in public spaces. And I make that clear to my friends, and I make it clear on the internet. I've had to work very, very hard to keep a normal life. Do you know what I'm saying? I've been in the press since I was 17 years old. If I wanted to be big, and like you guys, if any of us, if we really wanted to apply and be famous, we could do that, because we are intelligent people and we believe in ourselves. I don't believe in celebrity culture. I work with celebrities for a living as a journalist. I have friends who are very famous, but the people that I deal with who are very famous, they're very real, and they can still walk down the street. And so those have been people like Saul Williams and stuff like that. He can still walk down the street. I'll read articles about David Bowie. He's in New York City. People don't even notice him. He just, because it's a presence, it's a preference that you have. If you want attention, you're gonna puff yourself up and wear crazy outfits and want people to ask for your autograph and all that stuff. But you know what I mean? I'm pretty much in a coffee shop with my head buried in a book with my glasses on, or I'm kicking it with my friends, and everybody is allowed to walk up to me and sit down and chill. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But all of this takes real communication and real discipline to make it very clear, okay, I do this. Yes, you're going to see me in the press soon. You're going to see me, I think Playboy called one of my records one of the most underrated records. If you Google me, if you look me up, yes, that's all very cool. But when you're in front of me, I'm just like you. I don't want to talk about Wikipedia. I want you to talk to. Do you know what I'm saying? People my girlfriends try to say that stuff, about dating and things like that. It's baby, I can't. You can't date the same way when you're on Wikipedia. You know what I'm saying? It's please, I'd love your opinion. I'd love.
I mean, when I was younger, my father told me the concept of noblesse oblige, and it's when you are gifted with something, whether you want it or whether you don't want it, it automatically places a certain responsibility on you. And that's just what you have to deal with, Right. And when you look at some of the greatest, I guess, leaders in history, I always give this example of Martin Luther King. I always say, he didn't feel like doing that shit.
For sure.
But he was in the position and he had to, do what he had to do. But, it's when you're in a certain position, you have to do what you have to do sometimes. And, it might not be easy, but that's just the cards that you were dealt. And I guess one way to look at it is, yeah, I'm in this situation, and certain things might make me unhappy, but you know, look at this guy over here. He would beg to be in my position right now, so that kind of keeps it balanced sometimes.
Definitely, and I think about Martin Luther King in that same context all the time. I say, yeah, exactly. That is definitely one of my humbling techniques. Also, being a journalist and understanding global, having global awareness, knowing that me as a Black woman in the United States of America, I am incredibly blessed. If I were in any other country, I would have to deal with female circumcision. I could be carted off. In Yemen, girls are married to, 9-year-old girls are married to 60-year-old men. They die because their internal organs are too premature to have sex. Okay? So, as a feminist, I have a lot of, these Black women around me complaining and yelling at me for not being more angry and more revolutionary. But it's like they don't really understand that how blessed we have. For the most part, we have everything. We are able to, we have gay marriage. And that goes back to Martin Luther King and my problem with a lot of the young revolutionaries right now. When we try to separate ourselves and become an all Black and all white and all this and that, we kind of dismiss what Martin Luther King and so many people have died for us to have. Our great-grandparents cried and begged to God for us to be able to go to school, for us to be able to even have the smallest opportunities. And now that we have them, we have these young people saying that they don't want it. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of humbling techniques for me personally on love and kindness, compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, because I know that I could have been born in Sudan. I know I could have been born in Pakistan. I know the horrors of female circumcision. Also, I now that we're talking a little bit about women's issues, I was checking out your show, and I've kind of noticed that you don't have many women guests, on this show.
Yeah, we just had a conversation about that.
Yeah. And then the only thing that I see is about this naked woman, Cannabis's daughter, and all this stuff. And I have to say, as a hardworking Black woman, that kind of, it hurts. And talking to Shannon Wallace, who was a woman that you should talk to. She's the only Black female photojournalist on the beat right now. She's with City Paper and The Afro. We were talking today about getting hit on by our colleagues in our literary journalism scene, how we have to protect ourselves, how we're treated. And, see, when men treat us like that, it actually hurts us. Like, it hurts. And not only does it hurt us, it makes us feel dismissed and isolated and saddened. I need to have this conversation with you guys, because when me as a hardworking woman sees, have you seen Cannabis's daughter? I think A, she has a name. B, you're exploiting her body. C, you are exploiting a man's baby. I'm not trying to be, but that's I wanted to have that conversation with you guys. It seems like you are you're directing your work towards male audiences, and I've worked with D. I understand. I love Terrence's City of Gods, and I understand we have a lot of safe spaces for Black men in this community, but when it comes to Black women, I get treated real crazy. You know, people consider me like snooty because I dress well. You know, I speak this way. I rolled up at a rap battle dressed to the nines because I didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean? And you know, a couple of brothers like, "Oh yeah, you from the county?" I said, "Baby, I'm not from the county. My grandma's on Denison Street. Like, what are you talking about?" Right. So I deal with, you know, and I go to Penn North and I teach, and my teenage students. I get so much sexism and so much disrespect because I'm a young woman that dresses well. I know that if I was a male teacher, and I've had to talk to a few people about this in regards to my activism, sometimes I have to get men to say the same shit that I have to say just because I'm not listened to or respected in the same way. And Shannon and I, the only Black female journalists that we know, it was, and she's younger. She's 25, and I'm 30. So and she may disagree, and I hope she does. But I saw the sadness. I'm older now, so I can kind of brush it off. You know, in regards to when men hit on us and they say certain things, and you know what I mean. I can kind of deal with it with humor and patience. But when you're younger and you're just trying to find someone you can trust to teach you, you know, it's violating. When you're just trying to get close to get tips and to learn from a mentor, and then they take advantage and diminish us. I'm okay because I'm on a level where I'm equal now. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I saw me in her at 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm doing actually a piece for LA Weekly called it's about Black female rock and roll journalists. We're so isolated. There's so few of us. And so I've been having to write in the press. You know, finally, you know, there's been this come to Jesus life situation. Hey, Jordannah, how come you're the only one? That's a good question. You know what I mean? Not only is it, you know, white male privilege, but it's also Black male privilege. So I would ask you, brothers, in the future, you know, you guys can do better. And I listened to your Soderbergh interview. Your questions you are great interviewers. I was actually really impressed. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple opinions about Soderbergh, but I'm going to leave that alone.
I think when it comes to that episode in particular, and then the issues that you just spoke about, you know, when we do the show, a lot of times, and you know, we don't necessarily like you see, you know, we don't really have a female voice in the conversation. So, you know, we're definitely glad that you're here. But, you know, a lot of our shows, especially when we don't have guests, it's just kind of us just talking as dudes. And sometimes it's kind of like private conversations, and then we might pick a piece of it and like kind of put it out. So I can kind of see like how that might seem a certain way, but then when you like listen to it, it was kind of like, it wasn't necessarily meant to be you know, degrading or anything like that. So you know.
Baby, you got a naked young girl. She's young. I don't know how old she is. She looks like she's 22.
Oh, maybe she's not 22.
Maybe she's grown. It doesn't matter. It's sexist, and I need you to admit that, because I'm not. I'm not saying it's bad. Mm-hmm. I'm not upset with you. but it was sexist. And I looked it up, and I saw the men on the top of your website, and then the first thing I see, the only woman I see on here is a naked black woman. And I'm like, damn. And look, I'm a model too. You know what I'm saying? Like, there, you know, but it was like she wasn't a guest on the show, so she wasn't able to speak for herself. Do you know what I'm saying? It just, and you know, so that just tied into me looking at this young sister in her eyes being, I mean, I'm not a photojournalist. I'm not on the beat, you know what I'm saying, trying to get pictures and, you know, and dealing with crime and protest and all of this stuff. I'm a Hollywood reporter, and I do deal with a lot of social cultural issues, but I'm not really on the street, you know. And it hurt me to see her hurt. So, you know, here in Baltimore, that's a big reason why I'm here. And that's a big reason why I'm not going anywhere. Because the women, nor do the men or the women have a woman who, A, is walking around, speaking like me, walking like me and talking like me with the professional background and from the block. You know what I'm saying? So when my teenage students is like, oh, you know, we don't want you to get scared or nothing. Excuse me. I'm a grown ass woman. You a teenager. I'm not scared of you. You know what I mean? Like, they don't see women who look like me who also have the street smart. Do you know what I mean? So you know, I have to get in here and have these conversations, and I have these young revolutionary women who are angry at me because I choose to be polished, I choose to be patient, I choose to have white friends, I choose to love anybody who's chill with me. So we don't have we don't have female role models who are walking around saying, love one another, be patient with yourself, take care of your body, take care of your career. You don't have to have sex early. Why don't you wait? Why don't you get to know this person? If they're not treating you right, don't give them your body. And women are getting mad at me, but I have to say it because they hear it at least. So when I go into Penn North, and I had the bureaucracy mad at me because I'm different, right? I said, listen, I'm not trying to change these students. I'm trying to give them an option because they don't know that they can get out and travel the world and be from the block. You know what I'm saying? I love all of the male writers that are big right now in our culture, but the narrative is based around crack and poverty and violence and pain. Where are Martin Luther King's? We had Martin and Malcolm. We had the balance. Do you know what I'm saying? We had the nonviolence and we had the violence. We had the man who said, love one another. I am a man of God. I'm a Christian man, and I will walk by these white people, and I will, my dream is to see everybody loving one another. That was Martin Luther King's dream for us as a people to be able to love one another freely. And he got that dream. But here in Baltimore, we got this sexism, we got this racism, we got this intercultural racism of light skin and dark skin, middle class, you know, hood. We got all of these issues within us, and we are forgetting Martin's dream and the fact that it has been realized. We're still in the slave mentality, even though the utopia is here, right? The dream manifested, right? Yeah. I know I'm sounding idealism. Please break me down, please.
I mean, I think what you were saying earlier, because I think that like a lot of our interpersonal things on a micro level kind of are the same thing on a macro level. So you were saying earlier about how we're afraid of sharing, with other people, sharing our contacts and our resources and things because we have a sense of scarcity. So I think that sense of scarcity is not only on an individual level, but it's on the level of everybody all together as well. Sure. So, coming out of a situation of segregation when we had a lot of bad things happening as well, but at the same time that led to us having stronger communities and maybe a little bit less of a sense of scarcity because we all had each other together, and so you were able to have more of the dichotomy of different views coming through to where now it's like we have the choice to kind of go everywhere, but only the people who were able to go everywhere after redlining and everything are able to get there. So now you only have, you don't have the diversity in certain communities of different types of people, and everybody has that same mentality of scarcity, and so you're only going to get what comes from that mentality, I guess. So you kind of get that same type of view. And it's like people don't realize the abundance and they don't, and not necessarily having a world view because it's like what's happening right now in front of me.
Right. And I get that, and Black female activists have criticized me, feeling that I do not recognize systemic racism as much as they think that I should. My narrative and rhetoric is more based on self-realization, globalization, self-love, and compassion towards one another. With that said, the reason why I don't say white supremacy, systemic racism is because I'm busting my ass and I'm in Penn North teaching the teenagers. I'm there. I can't always say, you know what I mean? Talk is cheap for me. And again, with all due respect to the podcast, because I love this, but I was saying, in regards to my critics, not you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can say I know that people want me to say more and to recognize and speak more about the problems, but I want to take the time to speak more about the positive because we lack that. We lack that in activism. We lack that in a leader. Where is our positive, encouraging voice? And where is the person who's going to go in? I did, art at work, and the first question I asked is, what country, if you wanted to go to any country in the world, where would it be? The funny thing is, it's not funny. Actually, it's amazing. The country that most students wanted to go to, I think 4 people said out of the 20 people, was Russia. Wow. Now, who would have thought that? So I go and I listen to them. And they say, you know what? People don't pay attention to us. We don't feel like people care. We feel like teachers like you come in, you get money, and then you leave. We feel neglected. I lived in my house for 2 years without gas and without water. I listen. And not only do I listen, I give them jobs if they're ready. Do you know what I'm saying? Come to me, here's my business card. If you really want to be a writer, call me, and I'll get you in. Whatever you want to do. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't always have time. I don't want recognition for what I do. So I am going to get critics, because critics are not going to see everything that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? But we have forgotten, because I grew up here 25 years ago, and I just remember a different Baltimore where I was 6 years old and we could still go to the corner store by ourselves, go to the cigarette machine and get Auntie some cigarettes. Do you know what I'm saying? It was a different Baltimore. I remember when we were still, like, right at the end of it, we were still cleaning our marble steps. So I remember community. Now, it did start getting scary, by the time, it was always rough, but scary by the late 90s. You know what I'm saying? And my mother moved me out because it was getting hairy, and I was starting to come of age, and I wasn't going down a good path. Okay? So my mother, God bless her, took me out right before I probably would have gotten pregnant or an STD or, you know what I mean, this or that or that or this. You know what I'm saying? So because I got that gift to travel and to see different people and to love different people, I can come home and say, you can have this too if you want it. It is just an option.
Right.
So, yeah, but I'm glad we got to talk about the kind of a little bit of the feminist thing. I want to encourage you guys. There's so many amazing women here of all different races and creeds and talents that I hope you get to explore with them because we're so beautiful.
No, definitely. I mean, a lot of times, when we get guests on the show, that people reaching out like you, or we just get an idea or something like that, or we might speak to somebody and they say, hey, you should check this person out. So it's kind of organic like that. And then so we're definitely open to more, because we definitely need more female voices on here, and we definitely appreciate your perspective. And it's kind of interesting how at least in my mind it's something that I hadn't necessarily considered at the time. So it's definitely important to have that input. So definitely appreciate it.
I was walking down the street and I was thinking, all Black women really have is our beauty. Think about it. If I wasn't beautiful, what opportunities would I really get on a social level, being a Black woman from Baltimore City? I would be completely ignored on the world stage, or even does that make sense? Do you know what I'm saying? If I mean, and I think about that, and I talk to white. I don't just talk to you guys. I have these conversations to white men too. I say, listen, I know all the rock and roll guys. I know them all, right? And I'll look them in the eye and I'll go, if I was 250 pounds and my hair was natural and my skin was darker, you probably wouldn't be talking to me right now. And they agree. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? I've talked to white female. I think I only know one other white female, one other activist in general. I shouldn't say she's a white female, just one female activist who's actually willing to say pretty privilege. You know what I'm saying? Why 5-0 doesn't hurt her. And I've actually, I've never been messed with by the cops in my life. Not once ever. Okay? So these are, I hope you guys, just even in your personal lives, let's start showing love to the invisible. Because the Black women of the world, what did John Lennon say? Women are the niggers of the world, right? Well, and I'm thinking about it now. There was a woman, I think Therese reading an Impact article. She was like, man, black men are the scum of the earth. And I was like, I ain't scum of the earth, you know, but that was arrogant of me now that I think about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I've had a pretty easy life. I'm charming. I'm chill. I'm calm. I'm rational. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, so people can get along with me. Men can get along with me. They can have conversations. They can befriend me. So I'm like this safe, you know, woman. And I'm pretty. So I can go in a lot of different circles, right? But now that I'm thinking about it, you know, if I were different, I probably wouldn't, you know, be afforded everything that I have. So I hope that we as a community can start seeing the beauty in everybody on the block. Because when I'm on North Ave and I see everybody on the block, I see beauty. I think our culture, I think our community, even the poor black community, I think we are the most resilient, hilarious, crazy, eccentric. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
People, you know what I mean? We're wild, but we're smart. We're organized. We're loyal. You know what I'm saying? The Wire, the whole premise of The Wire was the drug dealers being smarter than the cops. That was the whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was like the whole premise of the whole situation. So, you know what I mean? So if we could just see that in ourselves. And I think that's what I'm trying to, I can't always be angry and complain about white supremacy and systemic racism, because I see how beautiful we are. And if we could just see how gorgeous that overweight 16-year-old mom is with 3 kids, yelling at her kids on the bus. We can see how beautiful she is, and not try to change her, not to, you know what I mean? Just love that. That's going to change the vibration of our community.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different components of the work. So I think that's a component, definitely. Sure. And then I think that the whole thing with the white supremacy part of it is some people just get angry and just yell and whatever, but there's the component of it of looking at the history and looking at systems and how to either infiltrate or break down the system so that it can be better moving forward. I think that's the more productive way of dealing with it instead of just screaming it. Some people kind of just seem to just scream at it, but don't look at the solutions to, but it's different levels to the work. There's the individual level and getting people to realize certain things because of certain situations. People weren't able to necessarily have a greater vision, beyond what they see. And then there's the reasons for that, which some have been broken down, but some are there. And it seems like every time something gets knocked down, there's another way of, I guess, subtly subtly putting it back in place in a different type of way. So
I think education, I mean, I think not just education, but books. Like, books changed my life. Reading changed my life, and that's how they get us. There are a couple of things that I want to say on that, but I believe in literary empowerment. You give a child a book, you give them the world. And that, I know that because my mother made us go to the library every weekend. I was reading Shakespeare by 9. I was just in love with words. I'm still in love with words. And those words, I wrote a book, Don't Lose Track, Volume 1, by the way. That book
it's available at Red Emma's, right?
It's available at Red Emma's, and it is available on Amazon. Don't let it fool you. It's going to say it's got 2 books in stock or something. There's enough. in our warehouse. Yes, Don't Lose Track Volume 1. That book's about to take me all over the world. You know what I'm saying? You know. So that's been my literary empowerment, nutritional empowerment.
Are you going to the vegan Soul Fest tomorrow?
I am going to sleep tomorrow.
Okay.
But I do know that that's going on. Mia Musa, I'm Facebook friends with some people who are going to be involved in that. My plan is to start putting together food boxes next year of vegetables and good foods, and just dispersing them to the community. Also, I'm going to start putting in notes on where to find these vegetables and how to budget to get them. So that's my goal for next year. I'm a walk the walk lady, and this isn't bragging. I'm just a walk motherfucker. I always have been. So I mean, that's my goal. After I get off tour and everything like that, that's going to be next. I have a nonprofit called Public Private, and it's a literary nonprofit. Last November we did a book drive, and I was able to give away probably 300 to 600 books for free. So that's what I'm going to be doing next year: food, literary work, and a couple of other things that I would, if you guys come to the Crown, I'd like to talk to you about. I'm not really going to be putting them out in the press right now, but the first thing I wanted to do was talk to the kids. You know what I'm saying? Because and I'm about to do another workshop with the high school zine creators called Beast Girl Zine. So these are going to be young feminists, and I'm going to be working with them. Last thing I did was in Penn North with Art at Work, a literary zine workshop with teens. On September 3rd, I am going to be at DIY Fest at 2640 in Charles Village, Mount Vernon area. Look up 2640 space. 1:45 to 2:45 p.m. I'm going to be doing a free DIY journalism workshop. Anybody can come. I may be doing a Dance Akimbo project where I just take a group of people and lead them into a huge community-based art installation. We may dance. I may have them write. I may have them, you know what I mean? So I'm going to be doing some fun things in the community coming up. But yeah, DIY Fest, September 3rd, 1:45 to 2:45 p.m. at 2640 space in the Sunday room of the building. It's an old church. So, you guys are just, first of all, thank you so much for giving me a platform to be able to have this conversation with you.
No worries. Thanks for reaching out.
This is, and your show is good. Like I said, I listened to your show and I was really impressed with the conversation and everything. And I got through like half of the Soderbergh show before you guys called me. I do want to listen to D. Watkins and a couple of the other podcasts. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. So when are you dropping your next project?
Well,
musically, because you're going on tour, but then
the release date. The release date was supposed to be September 22nd. Okay. I'm pushing it back. We have a single that's pretty much in the can. I do also want to announce I'm doing a duet with Dave Heumann of Arboretum, but I do want to announce that Jana Hunter of the band Lower Den, local band, mixed the record. So we got some big names on there, and Jana is a sister of mine. She's not a big name; she's my homegirl. But I want to say the first Tuesday of October.
Okay.
I'll let y'all know. Of course, I'll even hand you the song to play or premiere when we drop it.
Definitely.
But it's a folk soul record, and I covered Drake on it with an acoustic guitar. So it's going to be really different, but the Warm and Slow is about love. It's just a very personal love record, and hopefully the book will come out sometime next year. I submitted it to my publishers. We'll see if they like it. I'll keep you posted on that. Also, another big date, October 6th, I am going to be hosting legendary author Greg Tate's Baltimore book release at Red Emma. Greg Tate is the founder of the Black Rock Coalition. He basically, I found his book through required reading of D. Watkins' class because I knew his assistant, right? And I was kicking it at her house, and I found this book, and I opened up a page of Greg Tate's book, and it was about a black shoegaze rock and roll band called A.R. Kane, right? Your name's A.R., right? Check out A.R. Kane, okay?
Okay. I'm checking out A.R. Kane.
Yeah, A.R. Kane. They're a black shoegaze band, right? And I know them. I also used to manage a black shoegaze band called The Velt. Check out The Velt, VELDT. So anyway, I found this book, and it's by, I said, who is this guy? This is a black writer who writes about rock music. I didn't know he existed. So all of a sudden, here's that synchronicity again. I'm telling you, God just works in my life because I don't even, know what the deal is. I got to write for the Village Voice, and they would disrespect. They really just shat on me as a woman, as a female writer. And my friend at the Velt, Danny, said, fuck that, baby girl. I know Greg Tate. We going, you can talk to Greg Tate. That's how Danny talks. I was like, okay. So he connected us, and I ended up writing a piece in East Bay Express called Black Voices and Music Criticism Are Essential. And it was basically a manifesto about black writers writing for alternative media, which is where we kind of get into Brandon Soderbergh and City Paper. The lack of black writers in alternative weeklies, places like Vice, places like, when we separate ourselves as black writers and don't write for alternative media, then our voices are completely negated. You know what I'm saying? So some of us have to infiltrate and write for, and the Village Voice has always hosted black writers, but you know what I mean? Some of us have to stand strong and continue to write for the city papers and the East Bay Expresses and Vice magazine and all these places, the Gawker, which just got shut down, and you know what I'm saying, and BuzzFeed, which I hate. But I mean, some of us need to be there. You know what I'm saying? I won't do it. I won't write for Pitchfork, but some of us need to, need to be there. And I think that, City Paper does a horrible job of hiring black writers. I think they need to do black editors, and black staff, not just freelancers. And I think they need to do better. And Soderbergh knows how I feel. And with all due respect as a colleague and as a human being, but that's how I feel. But anyway, Greg he's my mother's age. He's like a dad to me, and there's where that reciprocity comes from. He decided to just talk to me, and I said, "Hey, let me do your book release in Baltimore." And he said, "Sure." So, like, God is good. That is that love where I'm helping a legend, do his thing and go on his book tour. and I'm lucky because he's just allowing me to do it. I'll be opening and reading for that. We're going to try and get Lawrence Bernay of True Laurel, who is a great zine writer and journalist. He writes for The Fader and for Noisy. I would love to connect you guys for this show.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. I'll definitely connect you with some of my, my female writing and activist friends, but also some great just human writers and thinkers. Because I really enjoy you guys, and I respect what you're doing for sure.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, and I really like a lot of your projects as well. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at The Crown.
I'm so excited about that show. It's gonna be my first show in over a year. So you're gonna see me.
That's what's up.
Barefoot. I always play barefoot. You're gonna see me in just being me. I'll be around friends, so it'll be a really fun time. Again, it's after Fields Fest, so I don't know who's going to show up, so you're going to have an intimate gig. I guess all I really want to say is that I believe that in the power of love, and I believe that if we really choose to not be afraid, to not judge, and I'll make this quick. I know we got to wrap up, but I'm just like having that discipline of not having those snap judgments. I love Baltimoreans. I love us, but we're very passionate, and we're also very sensitive as a community, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll say something, you're like, what the fuck do you mean by that? What? I mean, nigga, what you talking about? You know what I mean? Real quick, you know what I mean? Like, before we process and before we slow, my mother would say something to me, and I would, like, not answer real quick. She'd be like, huh? I'm like, Mom, I'm thinking before I answer you. I've always been that way, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I want to see our community pull down our guard a little bit, because I swear, if we pull down our guard, there will be less danger. I know that we're taught by the media and that we're taught by the world that we will be attacked if we open, right? But I was trying to teach my students about being more respectful and being more patient. Because when you're in front of a cop and you're chill, now look, cops are fucked up. And if you black, they're going to fuck with you. And I am not negating that with the deepest crux of my soul. I know it's fucked up. But for real, if we focus and calm down and communicate, people can't touch you if you have faith in yourself and you have a calmness at your root. I've seen it, and I believe in it, and I believe in, the safety of my body, and that's my philosophy of being a safe space for humans to be able to come to me and to be around me and to communicate. And that is my dream for, like, especially the women in my community who get disrespected and our bodies are objectified. But for us to be a safe space within ourselves is kind of the most power that we can have. And I hope that you men on the deepest level have respect for our bodies, because we're sacred, and sex is a gift. You know what I mean? These are the little things that we need to learn in our community that, like, Oh, I meant to talk about this real quick. People have also gotten mad at me because I said that I dated white men. Mainly, I would say maybe 80% over the past 15 years. You know what I'm saying? And black men have asked me why, and they've gotten upset. I said, well, in their culture, they're more patient. They're taught to court and they're taught to date. Okay? A lot of the men in my life, I didn't sleep with them for close to a year. I'm not necessarily a good girl. I'll just rot you because I don't got time to get fucked over because I'm a busy woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have,
right,
you know what I mean? I want to see how you roll. I want to see you. I want to, what's going on. I want to be your friend. I want to figure out what's going, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to teach young women on my side, we forgot how to date each other and how to like chill and be friends and like kiss. Like, what is all this like? And that's why I don't really, our community is so fast. And we have these girls who are 14 years old, pregnant. That's called molestation. That is not called consensual sex. If a woman is under 18 years old, that's never consensual. She's not ready. And I'm not saying this to you, but I'm saying this over your airwaves so your listeners who may be predominantly male can hear this. I look like I'm 16. I'm 30. But when grown men come to me, 40, 50 years old, and I know that I look like I'm 16, that shit is not cool. So, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know how, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know what I mean? It's never okay. These women are not ready, but, we don't necessarily want money if you're nice. Does that make sense? Like, and that's what men don't get, that they think that we want money and materials. But, like, if you're, like, sweet and affectionate and friendly and calm and, like, supportive and can give what you have, but even if it's on, like, an emotional, like, chill, loyal level, like, we won't demand much. But, yes, if you impregnate a woman and she needs help raising the child financially, that is not a burden, So I've kind of been pushed into having to adapt because I've seen throughout my years, especially growing up here, so many women get hurt and left pregnant, with nothing. And my mother is a single mother, and so, I decided to partner with people who come from a different culture and who just have different ways of doing things. It's not racism. It's not like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Some cultures just kind of do things a little bit slower in the way that I need them done. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Did I explain that as a black woman who kind of dates outside of her race in a sensitive way that feels respectful? I don't know.
It makes sense, but like at the same time, like it's almost a generalization, which I understand is an evolutionary thing that we have to generalize for our survival and things like that. But like, it gets to the point where when I meet people, it's like, oh, I thought you were going to be this way because you're this and you're from here and you're that. And it's like, yeah, but my background is like a whole nother thing that you probably wouldn't expect. So, I definitely understand where you're coming from, because that comes from a real place and that comes from real experiences and things that you've seen and been through. But then at the same time, it's almost like sometimes, good people might get looked over, which sometimes it's definitely affect the life, and that's just the way the ball rolls. So
not everybody can.
I don't know.
Destiny can't connect us all. But see, I say that on the other level when black women are like, oh, I'll never, do this or do that. First of all, I never said that I don't, I haven't dated black men. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it's been the majority. But, even, I was just getting my hair braided a couple of days ago, and my hairdresser, she's got 4 children. She's getting a divorce. But, she was talking to me that she told me that every single one of her friends had been left or cheated on, black women. And then she has a woman in her house that is on bed rest, pregnant, and her husband and her fiance left her because she quote unquote could not provide. She's pregnant with twins. She lost one of the twins through stress. The other twin is about to get lost through stress of this relationship, and he just threw her out. And this is a pattern. So this is me 2 days ago hearing these stories. Okay, this is a pattern. So I know it's a generalization, which is the plight of a black man. How to be a good look. I have the plight of being a good black woman. You know what I'm saying? We're all a good person. What do we say? A good man and a good woman is hard to find, no matter what color you are. Do you know what I'm saying? But we got to look at Baltimore. This is a Baltimore-based show. The numbers of STDs, the numbers of single mothers, and single mothers under the age of 18 and 21. We've got to look at the demographic of our culture and say, me as a young woman who is a survivor. You know what I mean? We talk about my business. I want to survive. I'm like, how do I adapt to survive? Okay. How do I not get AIDS? How? Because every partner I've had, white men, black men, but mainly white men, they say, okay, you're coming into town. Well, I've been tested. I just wanted to let you know. And I have been with this person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different, so I choose, very poignantly, to survive. But yeah, man, when I was in high school, the STD rate in my school was like 60%. And I thank God so much. I know that, like, I am blessed. And you talked about what your father said about blessings. It's just, I know that I'm lucky, which is why I come home and I talk to these young people, because I know that I am them. I could be them. I could have nothing that stopped me from being a young black woman, being pregnant at 15 years old. There is nothing that stopped me from being her. So I go to my students and they can't see it because I'm fancy and all this shit, but I'm like, yo, I am you. Do you know what I'm saying? God is just using me. I'm just lucky because God is just using me to talk to you. But there is nothing that other than luck. And maybe you two may feel the same way to be able to have this platform or whatever. But there's nothing, that ultimately keeps us from the dangers of coming up in this rough town, but our choices. You know what I'm saying? So people can criticize me. You can say whatever they want to say about me, but my body is okay. So, and I want other young women and other young men to grow up with their bodies being healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's too much.
Nah, that makes a lot of sense, and I feel like definitely an emphasis on you do have a choice, and making people aware that they have a choice, and that your choices can lead to various outcomes depending on what you choose, and discipline, and all these types of things are, things that definitely need to be instilled in people on an individual level. Because no matter what situation you're in, whether it's good or bad, you can be a child of a billionaire and make the worst choices and mess it all up, and you can be the child of a crackhead and make some good choices and rise to be that billionaire. So
Right.
It's life is interesting. May we live in interesting times.
Yeah. They either say that that's a Chinese curse or a Chinese blessing, depending on the on the person. But yeah, I got that from Ram Dass. He said, "Yeah, it's a Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times."
Yeah, and definitely check out Alan Watts too. I mess with him a lot. I think
I like him, but he's a little like Ram Dass is a jokester. You know what I mean? Like Alan he's a little serious. I'm gonna try to get deeper into him, but well,
he was the first.
I know what
he was like the first one to bring everything over, and then people, got into it after him.
Right.
So that's like a beginning point, I guess. But then there's Ram Dass, there's Krishna Das, and a couple other people who are on that same type of wavelength. But yeah.
Wow.
We definitely appreciate it. Having you on, definitely great conversation, and definitely great to have another female voice on the show. So we really appreciate it. I'm going to check you out. Singard, he's out in the wilderness of Oklahoma doing his thing. But
cool.
But yeah, I'm gonna come through the Crown on Wednesday. Where can people reach you?
Oh boy, well, let's see. Twitter at Love Jordannah, JORDANNAH. Love Jordannah. Facebook.com, JORDANNAHE, Jordannah E. I know this sounds silly, but the best way is really just Google my name, because somewhere in there you'll be able to find all my music, all my stuff. I have a Bandcamp, I have SoundCloud, I have a Tumblr.
Yeah, Wikipedia.
I'm on Wikipedia. I have all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. If you want to email me, you can email me at jewriting, JEWRITING @outlook.com. I like to get letters from people, and I hope some of your listeners reach out to me, because I'm always down, whether it's positive or negative thoughts from my readers and from your listeners. It would be it's always enlightening for me to engage. So yeah, August 24th, The Crown, Ancestral Duo. I will be playing with cellist Chanel Whitehead and guitarist Miles Gannett, Dan Conrad and Dave Heumann. These are two legendary artists who have never shared the stage before, right? So this is going to be like a full-on experimental, once-in-a-lifetime collaboration. Dave Heumann of Arboretum, Dan Conrad, you can find him on Wikipedia. He is an incredible instrument maker and artist. His daddy's famous for doing stuff. His brother Tony is famous for being an artist. But he's just the sweetest guy. He played my birthday. Him and my dad bonded. They're the same age. It was really cute. And Plate 64 and the Hexagrams, which is Alex Homan, a young singer-songwriter who I really enjoy, will be opening the show. It's just going to be family. It's going to be a real beautiful bill. It's going to be a real bill for sure. Something that you will probably never see again, ever. So I'm excited. I'm excited. And I need to go to bed. Y'all got me up in the middle of the night. I'm gonna go cat sit my friend Lexi Mountain. She's playing Fields Fest right now. All my friends are out in the wilderness right now, so I'm gonna go cat sit and take care of her little animals while she's partying, and I'm home writing my articles. Being a nerd.
That's what's up. Nah, but definitely, you know, continue to do your thing, and you know, keep in touch, and you know, looking forward to seeing, you know, how you progress and everything like that. So, you know, thank you so much for blessing our platform, and
thank you.
No doubt. And with that, we out. Peace.
Peace.
All right, good night.
Have a great night.
You too, dear. Bye.
Feel it, man. What up, son? You gotta just do it, yo. Yo, what up, man? It's a different channel, son. What up? On, man. What up? Watch the channel, son. Different plane now, man. It's all good. What up? All good, baby, in every hood, son. What up, yo? CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas is grown men. Bold face, gat in your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace. Cats more beef than Scarface. CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas that's grown men. Bold face, gat in your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace. Cats more beef than Scarface.